We continue our Game 1 news conference with Tennessee head coach Tony Vitello, center fielder Hunter Ensley, and pitcher Kirby Connell. Coach will make an opening statement, and then we will go into questions. Coach.
Yeah, beautiful day at the ballpark with a great crowd and the sun shining. Obviously, it was a little windy, and that was changing all day long, but what didn't change was the competitiveness. And exactly what we thought was going to happen happened. Their at-bats were going to be tough. Deverman was going to give us a tough look. We thought with the game on the line, they would go to their guy Harris, and our guys did an outstanding job in a bunch of situations, just showing some toughness. Good slides around home plate, battling with 2 strikes, making adjustments, and their guys did too. I mean, you got a guy going 100 miles an hour into the wall, and plenty of other situations that you could point out that made it probably a fun game to watch and a stressful game to be in the dugout.
We'll start up front with Eric and then go to row 3 with Carthy.
Tony, top 5 in the order, really kind of set the tone. A couple home runs, a lot of hits amongst those 5. I mean, you've seen it all year, but how impressive is that group, that front 5?
Yeah, I guess what could be impressive is you start a new week and it's a fresh, you'd like to call it a tournament, but it's really just a series. You could go one of 2 ways. You could try and do too much, or you could try and stay true to who you are. As you said, there's been kind of a thing there all year long. So you might as well rock and roll with that thing. And good leadership, even if the stat sheet doesn't show you what you're looking for or what you're talking about. I think good leadership started right out of the chute today. It was a good vibe.
Coach, you guys were up 5-2, and then they get some momentum, tied up 5-5, and then you guys were immediately able to respond. What do you feel like it says about your team that, they came up with a big momentum, and then you guys came up with momentum immediately after and came up in the big moments after that to close out the game?
It's a difference. It's a difference between this team and other ones that I've been able to be a part of, or even sit there, watch my dad's teams, or even teams you cheer on for. And I'm not talking about just being here with the teams I've been a part of, just in general. It's hard to get punched in the gut or the mouth, and we brag on our league probably too much. Not just us, but all SEC folks like to do that. But it does kind of get you used to getting hit. Gut, jaw, whatever you want to call it, shocked. You got to be able to respond. And again, my point is, I think this group, it's a difference maker. How they remain calm, or try and punch back in situations where the other team does some damage on us, and it helps the coaches staff realize it's a 9-inning game. So literally it kind of, I wish they weren't here, but literally these, leaders kind of help the coaches kind of maintain an even keel mindset to an extent.
Ryan on the left and then Mike up front.
Hunter, I believe both your at-bats against Harris, you fell down 1-2. Just what allowed you to fight back and have success in those counts?
Yeah, I think early in the count, maybe trying to do a little too much. Yeah, but getting later in the count, I think the only thing you can do with 2 strikes is get in there and compete. Really try and change my sights to middle of the field rather than, left center, left field. So I just think moving my sights over to the right side of the field helped that.
You guys had 1 runner left on base today. What led you guys to being so successful with 2 outs, with runners on, and kind of in all those situational moments?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because you could do everything you need to do, like Simo's first at-bat as an example. He scolded that thing, and there's nothing to show for it. So you could do everything you need to and be tough but not get good results. But I do think it was a byproduct of just toughness. We've got some skill. We got physicality throughout the lineup. They do too. They have toughness, but we kind of showed some unique situations, I think, where guys were willing to make adjustments. And a lot of times this year you can see a guy swing out of control or way too big or get frustrated with one thing that happens in the middle of the at-bat and take himself out of it. And, it was just kind of a word that stuck out to me, so I shared it with the group out there.
Ben on the left and Wes on the right.
Kirby, was a little bit of a roller coaster for the pitching staff today. Just how would you recap the day, I guess? And Tony, what went into your decision to put Ariel in at second at the end of the game?
Yeah, it started with Stamos. Stamos went out and gave us a really good first inning, kind of threw the first punch for us, and then went to Kazi, then beat it to Combs. But, talked about, giving up some runs in the middle innings, but offense helped a lot, and then, just letting the defense play behind us.
Yeah, we just, we had chaos in there because you're trying to figure out, who to pitch and all that. And then on the other side of the ball, offensively, he had some soreness in his leg. I'll go right next door and be able to speak more specific. But with the lead, Ariel's been kind of our guy on defense. Sometimes we do it with Dean. Sometimes we do it with Billy based off where the lineup is at. And in this particular occasion, we kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Remove any doubt there with what was going on with soreness and, do our thing with Ariel getting in the game. And won't you know it, the first hitter hits it right to him.
Do you expect him to play tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Tony, other than, I guess, Hunter's couple hits there against Harris, and I think Amick got a double. It looked like there was something off speed. He was throwing a slider that was giving your guys fits. What was it that y'all were seeing from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's kind of 2 different looks to the breaking ball. I'm not standing in there, but he's good at spinning it, and it's kind of why he's been their guy. A good amount of saves and a lot of key appearances for him late in the game. But for a reliever, we've got a couple guys like this too, a huge amount of decisions. I think he was 8-3 going into the game. So he's good for a reason. And as you saw with Meyer, came in after, they got more ammo down there in that bullpen, but he is arguably their best piece. So to get anything against him, I think all teams that have played them would tip their cap to us. And for us, as you saw, it was needed. You can't sit on what you got. Our at-bats need to be as competitive as theirs, and we just had to do it off a very, very good pitcher.
Joe, then Paige.
Yeah, Tony, how important was the top of the third there down 2-1? Obviously, Cal makes the throw, but even getting the interference before that, how pivotal was that little stretch?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's wild. For those of you that just follow our team, it's not like we got some kind of crazy cloud above us working some sort of voodoo. Baseball's like that. Every time you come to the park, you see something new. And, our guys are competing. And I think what comes out of that are some unique plays where maybe a guy does something, that gives us an advantage there, like the back pick. And then, the stolen base situation. It's kind of funny. I don't know that it happened with them, but it happened in one of their games where you got a catcher's interference over in the regional in Greenville. So there's no doubt we were a benefactor. Everybody knows when you're in a series, it's a race to 2 wins, but really when you're in a game, it's a race to 27 outs. So you'll take them any way you can get them.
Hunter, that was your 10th home run on the year, 163rd for the program this season. Just kind of, can you describe what you saw when the ball left the park, and does it kind of like the momentum feed into each other when one guy's hitting a home run and then the other guy's, feeling better at the plate? Just kind of how do you guys feed into that throughout the game?
Well, I think on a day like today, it was really pushing out to left field. Also, the wind was changing, seemed like every inning. So the ball was really flying. So I knew I put a good swing on it, and I knew it was gone off the bat. But I think, seeing, Simo, Berg, Billy, all homer today kind of bleeds into the rest of the team. Not that we're going up there and trying to hit homers, but maybe our approach is maybe, get it up in the air a little bit more, and hopefully the wind will help us out a little bit.
Back row.
Coach, seeing Evansville's fight in the 9th inning, does that change maybe a perception of them going into tomorrow that maybe no lead is as safe as you might think it is?
No, I mean, at the, top of the convo here, the opening statement, we knew exactly what we're getting. I kind of think the players did too. I've heard some underlying conversations. We don't make them watch the game, but you're on a Monday, you want to put your feet up, and it was exciting. I watched more than I usually do that Monday, those cutthroat games that they're playing in. So I think our guys watched the Evansville East Carolina game, and I think they were pretty good about it. They weren't cheering for either team because they know both teams are going to be hell, and they saw it for themselves. So I think the one thing you're combating is, and I kind of griped about this last week, we can have a conversation in the dugout as a whole team. They can talk in the locker room, but then you're going to have to combat what all you guys have to say and how the fans go back and forth. And in our league, no one does that more than those folks. So you have to decide which of those things you want to pay attention to and which you don't. So, but I think anybody that was wearing, white today or wearing our uniform knew it was going to be hell, and it'll be like that tomorrow. And if it comes down to kind of like a lot of SEC series do, where it's 1-1 on Sunday, it'll be that too.
Mike and Ryan.
Yeah, Tony, about a month ago, you shuffled that middle third of the lineup around. Did you expect at that point it might be as successful as it's been? And specifically with Hunter, why has he been so successful in that 5 hole since then?
Yeah, I think prior to that, there was already some momentum being built. You know, each year is very different, but things can play into your year from last year. You know, your expectations and what you want to do and things like that. So sometimes you see guys motivated for one reason or another, start out slower or hotter or whatever it might be, and then as repetitions start to pile up, you know, kind of the truth, I guess, or the cream will rise to the top. I don't know what the right phrase is, but again, when you get enough sample size, you'll see what a guy is, and I think the numbers are fine. They've been climbing, but I've said it a million times. Again, usually when he's not around, so we don't need this guy getting cocky, but he's in the lineup because he fights, and everybody knows he's got the ability to hit. If you're in this game today, I'm going through those two lineups, you got ability to hit, and the results will come and go. But the more often or higher percentage of the time you compete your butt off, you just kind of shifted the percentages in your favor a little bit, and I think that's what he does.
Kind of similar question that Karthik asked Tony, but it feels like anytime y'all give up a big inning, y'all are very quick to respond with a big inning. Is there anything you can put your finger on why you think that's the case?
I don't think one certain thing. I just think offensively our mentality is, I mean, any given inning, you know, we can get you for 3 or 4 or 5, even more than that. But I think offensively it's just, you know, keep the foot on the pedal, and if we don't get it done one inning, we might get it done in the 6th, 7th, 8th. Really don't matter. I just think as good as our lineup is 1 through 9, we can get you with anybody and at any different time.
What was the approach against Deverman, and have you seen or can you recall any balls hit up there where Billy hit his halfway up the light pole there?
It's Deverman. He's the lefty, right? Yeah, I can remember one hit up there. I hit one in BP today.
What about off Tidwell?
Oh yeah, I got Blade too. I'll send him this interview when we leave. That way, he knows I'm talking about him. But yeah, he crushed it. But yeah, I've had a few up there too. So I'm gonna let him know that for sure.
Tony, and maybe for Kirby as well. There's a lot of guys, some guys on this team who were here 2 years ago when you last hosted a Super as the #1 seed. And do you think that experience is helping this time, just having gone through that and just knowing how to approach, you know, something like this a second time around?
I think so. I think anytime you do something, you get something out of it. And to simplify it for now, if you do well, you take confidence from it. If you don't, you try and learn or see what's different. So I think it can only help when you experience something one way or another. But I also think, like you mentioned, 2 years ago in college sports now is kind of a long time. So there's different leaders in this team. There's also a different way this group goes about it. And then, you know, on the radio, it's funny, they pointed out there are a lot of similarities between Evansville and Notre Dame, the team we played there. But there's also a huge amount of differences too. So this is a different script that's being written. But I do think the fact we experienced it, whether we would have won it or lost it, gives us a little bit of an edge. And then so does last year. You know, having to do it on the road was obviously tough, but just those moments of you know, you can call pressure if you want, but those moments of being in a situation like this, I think only benefit you. You're supposed to answer a little bit too. I just kind of rambled a little bit.
Yeah, I think it helps. You know, there's a lot of guys from that 22 group, but then you got the new personalities that have came in this year and last year. So a lot of those guys are, you know, they watched it in 22, but it's mainly just us learning, like Coach V said, and having a different mentality going towards it.
Last one, Eric.
Kirby, you faced this Evansville lineup one time through. How challenging of an order is that lineup top to bottom for a pitcher, and kind of your mindset in attacking a lineup like that?
Yeah, you know, 1 through 9, they're pretty good. They got guys that can leave the yard anytime. But you know, it's a lot of guys that are going to go up there and compete. Threw a lot of pitches, threw almost everything I had, threw the kitchen sink at one dude, and he ended up taking it for ball 4. But for me, it was just, you know, throw it over the white deal down there, like Coach A says, and you know, kind of let the defense play behind me.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.